Now it's time for us to know our levels. Before anything, we have to correct our reading homework, right? So I'll show you the homework which I have given for the 5th lesson. This is the homework. Um, just give me a minute. I'll show the homework. Academy students, homework reading is this. Lesson 5. Take it out. Can you see this paper? Right. General students, this paper is this. Can you see this? Right. First, we'll correct homework. I would like to show the answers for homework. Let's start off with the academy one. Answers for the academy homework. Wait. Right, academy reading homework answers, please correct. Homework, starting now. Sharing the screen. Academy reading homework. Are you correcting? So the brackets are not important. Here S is important. Lemon. Okay. May I have the mark for academic reading homework, please? Till you send the mark, I like to show the general one also. Can I have the marks for academic reading homework? Marks, please. Thank you, Pulinda. Pulindu, thank you. Pojita. Right. Now I'd like to please send me marks. I'm going to send the answers for general. Purnima, thank you. This goes general now. General homework. General training reading homework. Can you look at the screen? Homework. Keep on sending me marks. Pavani, Pasvi. Thank you. General students, can I have the marks for the homework reading? Right, can I have the marks? General, please. Thank you, Trevor, Vinod. Okay. Now we'll go to classwork. So after 6 weeks of practice, classwork, homework, and then you worked out your mistakes because I gave you the answer. This is more than enough. 6 weeks is more than enough to know roughly where you are. Okay. So we have done a test and this is the last one and we will know our levels. Ready? First we'll go to academic. 7, general. Is that who's asking me? Trevor? 7, general 7. Huh? General. Is general? Okay. 7 is I'm going back to find. 7 answer S. Thank you. Now we will go to academy. So last paper, we have to know our level. Are you ready? Academy students. Thank you, Jamara. Let's go to the answers. Are you ready now, academy students? All right. The last one.
I finished one lesson. I finished one lesson.
Marks, please. Now somebody asked me 1, 2, 3 general of the previous one. Na? 1, 2, 3 general is R, V and G. Previous one, I think it was Chamara who asked. Na? 1, 2, 1 and 2, Hashen. R, 1, 2, G. Hashen, thank you, Vinod. Okay, let's go to the general one now. Are you ready for general? Ready for general? Okay. Now general. Thank you. Now starting general. Class 1. Pulindu, what do you want? Academy? 18 to 23. Well, I'll put both together now, then you can see it. Like this is academy and general. You can see both together then. Show again. Can you see? On the left side is the academy, right side general. This is general, right side general. This is general. May I have the marks, please? 12 to 14. 9 to 4. I'm going up again. On left hand side, it's academy, right hand general. Can you see? This is general, this is academy. Can you see? Marks, please. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Right. Now the marks. Now we have to talk about marks. Finalizing the marks. So student, 6 weeks of practice, classwork, homework, right? Now you have to get more than 28. They say if you have got more than 28 for this last test, you're ready to do the test, right? You're ready. It's kind of like a 6.5 because we have done some difficult tests also, right? If someone's aiming for more than 7, they have to get 32. Okay, so if you want a 7 for the exam, you have to get more than 32 today. Other people, I think if you got 28 and over, you're okay. You're okay, but there's a but. I'll talk about it. People who have got between 21 and 27, you're okay, but this is not enough. You're intermediate English, but you have to practice a lot. You have to do a paper every other day. Paper mistakes, paper mistake, paper mistake. At least for like 15 days. Definitely you'll come to 28. I'll tell you with experience, right? But you have to do a paper mistakes, paper mistakes. Below 21 is bad. Why? Even after 6 weeks, if you're getting that, the meaning is you have to improve your English. You can't do IELTS. You won't get a good score in IELTS. You have to improve language, English, and then language skills, and then you don't need a class. You know what's happening. You take the papers and do. Now, why did I say but for the people who have got 28 and over? Huh? You're okay if you're going to do the exam next Saturday. That's IELTS, whether you do or I do. Let's say you got IELTS score of 8, that's only valid for 2 years. Whether you do or I do, language is all about usage. The scores expire. So to keep this mark reading 28, you can keep it till next Saturday. But if you want to postpone the exam, then what shall we do? To keep this then the level, you have to do 1 or 2 papers. 1 or 2 papers. Did you understand that? I had to do 1 or 2 papers. You can postpone the exam, but do 1 or 2 just to keep that score. All right. Okay. So it's very tricky. I have people who get 38, 39, no practice for 1 month, they get 19, 20. Okay, students. So good luck with your reading. My only advice is till the last moment, I think you have to practice. Till the last moment, you have to practice, practice, practice. All right. Okay. Any questions to ask? So we have done the official past papers. Please do the official past papers, the Cambridge ones. All right. Okay. Any questions to ask? So good luck, students, with your reading. Okay. All right. Any questions? Right. We do the true for now every Saturday when there's an exam. I ask students. Now the papers are not balanced. Last week's paper, every paper has lot of true false. That's the hardest. What 10, 12 true false. And MCQ is popular, it seems. True false, MCQ, fill in the blanks, matching headings, redo them. Right? Papers are not balanced. So you know the skills, no, everything was scanning except for matching headings. Matching headings, I said, no scanning, no skimming. You have to read the whole part and think what do they all say. So, right? So that seems to be very popular in every paper. Okay. So good luck with your reading, students. All right. Now, shall we do the listening also and know your level? Are you ready for it, students? Listening test. Ready? We know the results expire in 2 years. So before 2 years, you have to go away where you want to go. Why do you want to do it now? Like, if you're not sure, don't do it. Did you understand? Huh?
Actually, so if I wanted to do another, like, in 3 months, if I do another exam.
So when do you want to go? Your scores depend on that. When do you want to go? Wherever you want to go. Huh?
No, ma'am. Generally asking, right? So if I do 2 exams between 2 years.
Why do you want to do 2 exams?
No, I'm just asking. So what is the last one? What the score they take it as, ma'am? Last exam?
Don't waste money. Just do 1 exam. It's up to you now. When you want, let's say you have done 5 exams. What result will you produce? You see that? They will only look for the results you produce. They don't double check and see I have done this exam, that exam. Did you understand me, Vinod? Right? You are going to produce a result now. You see that? They will look at the result sheet. So whatever result sheet you want to produce, your result. You see that? Why do you want to do several exams? I don't like it. Don't do several exams. Right? That's I think it's not feasible for you. You're just wasting money. When you're very sure, you do it. No, Radha, you can't. You can't. The answer books have in capital because that's for the ease of the answer books. For simple rules, how do you write your name? First letter capital and all the other simple. Normal punctuation rules. Don't write in block capital. My God. Okay, I told on the first day. Anything else? Anything else? Okay. We know the okay now. Right? Don't waste money. Just do one exam. If results go bad, do another exam. You see that? Right. Okay. Shall we do the listening also? Huh? I want to know your level. Last day, no? Okay. Happy about some scores, huh? Let's do a listening one now. Is this the one you printed out for lesson 6? Check, check. Our last one. Is this the one? Huh? Hello? This one you printed out? Are you there? Okay. Some people are answering. Okay. Don't open till I tell you. Moment, please. I'll give a signal. Huh? I'll give a signal. Okay, ready? Now starting now.
Listening. Official practice materials
Can you hear?
2. You will hear a number of different recordings and you will have to answer questions on what you hear. There will be time for you to read the instructions and questions and you will have a chance to check your work. All the recordings will be played once only. The test is in 4 sections. Write all your answers in the listening question booklet. At the end of the real test, you will be given 10 minutes to transfer your answers to an answer sheet. Now turn to section 1 on page 2 of your question booklet. Section 1. You will hear a conversation between a customer and a booking officer at a theatre. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 4 on page 2. You will see that there is an example that has been done for you. On this occasion only, the conversation relating to this will be played first.
Hello, Theatre Royal Plymouth?
Oh, hello. I'd like to make a booking, please.
Yes. What is it you want to see?
The Imposter.
Right.
The man wants to see the imposter, so imposter has been written in the space. Now we shall begin. You should answer the questions as you listen, because you will not hear the recording a second time. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 4.
Hello, Theatre Royal Plymouth?
Oh, hello. I'd like to make a booking, please.
Yes. What is it you want to see?
The Imposter,
Right. And which day did you want to come?
Friday the 25th.
Just a moment and I'll check availability on the computer. Oh, sorry, we're fully booked for that performance.
Oh dear. What about the following day then?
The 26th? Yes, that's okay. We've got 2 performances on that day, one at 3:30 and one at 7. Which would you prefer?
Oh, the later one, please.
Hmm? How many people?
Well, there are 4 of us.
Are there any concessions? Any children?
Oh, I'm not sure. My daughters are 15 and 12. Do they get concessions?
Only the 12-year-old, I'm afraid. So that's 1 child and 3 adults. Any idea where you'd like to sit? Stalls or circle? Tickets for the stalls are a bit more expensive. £12 for adults and £8.50 for children. The circle costs £10.50 and £6.50.
Do you get a good view from the circle?
Oh, yes. And in fact, we've got some seats left at the front if you'd like those.
Right. We'll go for those then.
Right, that's seats A21 to 24 then. They're very good seats.
That sounds fine.
So let's see, that comes to £38 altogether for the tickets. How do you want to collect them? Shall I put them in the post? They'd be sent today by first-class mail and there'd be an additional charge of £1 to cover postage and administration. Or do you want to get them from the box office yourself?
Oh, yes. Could you send them, please?
No problem. That'll be £39 altogether.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 5 to 10 on page 2. Now listen and answer questions 5 to 10.
Could I just take your card details? What kind of card is it? Visa? Switch?
MasterCard.
OK. And the number?
It's 3290 5876 4401 2899.
2899. OK. And the name on the card, please?
It's Mr. J. Whitton. WHITTON.
N for never or M for mother?
N for never.
Thank you. And now I've nearly finished, but I just need your address and postcode.
Yes, it's 42 South Street,
OK. Is that Plymouth?
London.
And the postcode?
It's SW2 5GE.
That's fine then. The ticket should be with you tomorrow. Is there anything else I can do for you?
Yes, I was wondering if I could get regular information about what's on.
Certainly. I can just add your name to our mailing list. Would that be okay?
That would be very good. Yes, please. Oh, and there is something else, sorry. One of our group is hard of hearing, and I've heard that you can supply special headphones.
That's right. As long as you tell us in advance, we can always do that. I'll book those for you now, and you can just collect them from the box office before the show.
Thanks very much for your help.
No problem. Thank you for calling.
Thank you. Bye.
That is the end of section 1. You now have half a minute to check your answers. Section 2. You will hear the organizer of a rock festival talking to the exhibitors and performers at a planning meeting. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 17 on page 3. Now listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 17.
Good evening, everyone. I'm glad you could all make this planning meeting for what promises to be the biggest and most colourful free rock festival ever held in the Southeast. So whether you're a performer, a craft exhibitor or an artist, we all extend a big welcome to you. Could we turn first to the plan so I can familiarise you with the layout of the site, which, as you know, is an old football stadium. We're really lucky to have so much space this year. You can see the main gate at the bottom of the plan. Have you found it? That's where most visitors will enter. It's also the entrance for those taking part in the craft fair. We've set the stalls just inside the gate on the left in a circle. If you walk straight ahead from the gate along the path without turning right, you'll come to some steps up to the football stadium. On the left of the steps is the fringe stage. This is for alternative artists. They include folk singers, poets and other acts which are more suited to a smaller stage. And they should also enter by the main gate. On the opposite side of the steps is a restaurant, and adjoining that is the main festival information point. Here you can get extra programmes and up-to-the-minute information about events, and you can discuss any last-minute problems, although we hope everything will be running smoothly when the festival opens. Coming back to the plan, you go up the stairs to the stadium. The entrance for the rock bands is on the far side, and on your right is the main stage, which will have powerful illumination and amplification throughout the weekend. There will probably be TV vehicles adjacent, that's in this area only, for recording purposes. If you look at the outside of the plan, you can see a third gate for exhibitors, opening onto a side path. A little way down the path, before you get to the trees, is the building where the art exhibition's being housed. Then, finally, there's just one more building marked on your plan, quite near the main gate. It's divided into lock-up garages, so I hope you now feel quite familiar with the main festival area.
Before you hear the rest of the talk, you have some time to look at questions 18 to 20 on page 4. Now listen and answer questions 18 to 20.
We also hope that you'll have received your welcome pack. In it, you should find 2 parking tickets for yourself and anyone assisting you, an armband to indicate that you are an official visitor, one of our brilliant yellow badges with the new festival logo, a festival programme, and several sheets of information that we'd ask you to study carefully before the event. Please could you note that all setting up of stalls, displays and so on should be completed by 9:30 a.m. and that, unfortunately, we won't be able to allow any vehicles to enter the festival area after that time. Yeah, it's a big site, but even a few vehicles parked in the wrong place can block the paths. With crowds of people, and we are expecting several thousand, this can merely be a nuisance. But if there's an emergency and access for an ambulance is blocked, the situation will become not just annoying, but also dangerous. And don't forget, it could be your mother or your child who needs help. Several exhibitors and craftspeople have asked us if any provision can be made for overnight storage of tables, chairs and display items rather than having to take them home and bring them again. We're pleased to say that a limited amount of space has been made available in the building near the main gate. You'll be issued with a yellow ticket to reclaim your property, similar to the red parking tickets, so do check you bring the right one. But please understand that this is entirely at your own risk, as we can take no responsibility for items lost or damaged. I think that's all I have to say at this point, but thank you all for your attention.
That is the end of section 2. You now have half a minute to check your answers. Section 3. You will hear a discussion between a business student called Marco and his personal tutor about the courses that Marco should take. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 23 on page 5. Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 23.
Hi, Marco. Come in.
Thanks. I've got a bit stuck trying to select courses for next semester. Could you help me, please?
Of course. Sit down.
Oh.
First of all, most people just go for the areas of business that they're interested in. But even if something doesn't look very stimulating, it's important that you can use it once you get a job. It's not much good choosing areas that aren't going to be helpful later on.
Right. I want to go into management, so I'll need to think about that. And should I start specialising in a particular area yet?
I don't think that's wise at this stage. It's better to aim for a wide variety of subjects, especially as management covers so many possibilities. You shouldn't be limiting your choices for later on.
Yes, I see.
You should also look at how the course is made up. Will you have regular seminars and tutorials, for example, as well as lectures?
Okay. Some of the lecturers are quite big names in their fields, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Should I aim to go to their courses?
Well, remember that the lecturers who aren't well known may still be very good teachers. I'd say we have a consistently high standard of teaching in this department, so you don't need to worry about it.
Before you hear the rest of the discussion, you have some time to look at questions 24 to 30 on pages 5 and 6. Now listen and answer questions 24 to 30.
Good. Well, that's a great help.
Now, last time we met, you mentioned doing team management, didn't you?
That's right. I'm still quite keen on the idea.
Mm-hmm.
The trouble is that because of changes in the content of various courses, team management overlaps with the Introduction to Management course you took in your first year. So what you learned from it would be too little for the amount of time you'd have to spend on it.
I'll drop that idea then. Have you had a chance to look at the outline I wrote for my finance dissertation? I left it in your pigeonhole last week.
Yes. Why exactly do you want to write a dissertation instead of taking the finance modules? It'll be pretty demanding.
Well, I'm quite prepared to do the extra work because I'm keen to investigate something in depth, instead of just skating across the surface. I realise that a broader knowledge base may be more useful to my career, but I'm really keen to do this.
Right. Well, I had a quick look through your outline, and the first thing that struck me was that you'll have to be careful how you set about it, as the way you've organised it seems unnecessarily complex. The data that you want to collect and analyse is potentially valuable, but you'll need to narrow down the subject matter to make the whole thing manageable.
Okay, I'll have another look at it. I was talking to Professor Briggs about it yesterday, and I got some more ideas then. For part of the dissertation, I was thinking of trying to persuade finance managers from 3 or 4 companies to let me ask them about their company finances. If not, I think I'll have to change to another topic.
Well, go ahead then. I could give you some names.
Thanks.
Now, let's talk about practicalities. Your dissertation must be finalised by the end of May, so you should aim to finish the first draft by the end of March. Is that feasible?
Yes, it shouldn't be a problem. I'll need to register for the dissertation, won't I? Is that with the registrar's department?
No, it's internal to this department, so you just need to let the secretary know. Do that as soon as you're sure you're going to write the dissertation.
Okay.
Then, to analyse your statistics, you're going to need some suitable software. If I were you, I'd drop into the computer office and ask them for a copy.
Right. So, if I revise my outline, can I...
That is the end of section 3. You now have half a minute to check your answers. Now turn to section 4 on page 7. Section 4. You will hear a talk about a research project on the tiger shark. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40 on pages 7 and 8. Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40.
Good morning, everyone. Today I'm going to talk about the research project I've been involved in on the tiger shark. First of all, some background information. The tiger shark, also known as the leopard shark, is often thought to have got its name from its aggressive nature. But in actual fact, it's called that because it has dark bands, similar to those on a tiger's body. It is a huge creature, growing up to lengths of 6.5 meters. It can be found just about everywhere throughout the world's temperate and tropical seas, but it is most often found along the coast rather than the open sea. In terms of feeding, tiger sharks tend to be most active at night and are solitary hunters. Their preferred prey includes other sharks, turtles, seabirds, and dolphins, to name but a few. However, it's not uncommon to find garbage in its stomach. This is because it tends to feed in areas such as harbors and river inlets, where there is a lot of human activity. Now to the project itself. We are particularly interested in some studies that have been done in the Rain Island area. Observations here have shown that there is a large population of tiger sharks present in the summer during the turtle nesting season. However, during the winter months, the sharks disappear. So we decided to do some of our own research there. The first step was to tag a number of sharks so that we could follow their movements. To do this, we first needed to catch the sharks. Early in the morning, we baited lines with large bits of fish and set them in place. These lines were then checked every 3 or 4 hours. If no sharks were caught, the baits were replaced. Once a shark had been caught on one of the baited hooks, it was pulled in close to the boat and secured so that we could carry out a number of brief activities to aid our research. This usually took no more than about 10 minutes and was carried out as carefully as possible to minimize any stress to the shark. Each of the tiger sharks that we caught was measured and fitted with an identification tag, and also a small amount of tissue was taken for genetic studies. For some larger sharks over 3 meters long, we also inserted into the belly a special acoustic tag capable of sending satellite signals, while on other large sharks we attached a camera to the dorsal fin to enable us to study the behavior and habitat use of the sharks. After this, the shark was released, and we were able to follow its movements. So what was the purpose of all this tagging? Well, while we were already familiar with some aspects of the tiger shark's behavior and food sources, what we hoped to do in this project was to see exactly what factors affected the migration patterns of tiger sharks and whether it was, in fact, food, weather, and reproductive needs. These are some of our findings. On February 21st, a large female shark, whom we named Natalie, was attracted to our research boat at the northern tip of Rain Island and fitted with one of the satellite tags I've just mentioned. No transmissions were received from Natalie between April 2nd and April 29th, indicating that she didn't surface to feed during this period. The area in which she was last reported is very shallow, suggesting that she may have changed her feeding preferences during this period to focus on prey found on the sea floor. We also made a number of other discoveries, thanks to the various transmitters we used. It seems that tiger sharks move back and forth between the ocean floor and the surface quite often. This may help the sharks conserve energy while they swim, but it probably also helps them hunt, since this movement back and forth maximizes its chances of not being detected by its prey until the last minute. So far, our findings have not been conclusive. However, we have gained some very interesting insights into the behavior of tiger sharks and are now hoping to develop our research further.
That is the end of section 4. You now have half a minute to check your answers. That is the end of the listening test. You now have 10 minutes to transfer your answers to the listening answer sheet.
Okay, shall we check the answer now? Okay, let's check. We'll check this first, right? And then after that, we'll check our homework also. First, we'll check this, then we'll check the homework also. There's a listening for homework. Wait. Now this is the classwork, not the homework. Can you see the screen? Classwork, the one we did now. May I have the marks, please? Okay. Marks. Listening marks, please. Now I'll go to listening homework marks. Homework marks. Reading for the listening homework marks. Homework paper. Can you see the answers now? Listening homework. Here are the listening homework answers. Can I have the marks? May I have the marks? Some people have not sent it. Okay, then, right. Okay, so listening is just like your reading. Now you have to get over 28. Why? Today is the 6th day. They say if you have got 28 for any practice test, you are quite ready for the test. But if someone is aiming for a 7, you have to get more than 32. Alright? So between 21 and 27, that means your level is okay, but this is not enough. You have to practice more. Alright? Below 21 is bad, students. Even after 6 weeks, if you're getting below 21, the meaning is you can't understand accents. You can't understand spoken English. You need to improve language skills and then do test on your own. You don't need classes. All right. So good luck with your listening as well. Now, uh, I'll give a 10-minute, no, I'll give a 5-minute break. Okay. So, can you come at 4:30, please? 4:35. Okay. We come at 4:35. I want to talk about your writing. I want to give you some advice, and then I want to show some model answers for what we did last week, and then we will watch the speaking video. So today the most important thing is the speaking video. All right. Okay. Now. Then take a break for 5 minutes. Then so I'll see you at 4:35. Right? We are going to watch this video together. That is the most important thing today. All right. So let's talk at 4:35. Okay, right. Now I'd like to talk about your writing. I have been very strict in my marking, students, right? There's a chance that you might get 0.5 more at the exam, right? So you know your mark. I think a very few got less than 5.5 and they had a lot of problems with grammar and word choice, right? So there were few people who got 6.5 also. Okay, I'll help you like this. Now, Chamara, you were not in the class. Poshita, Pulindu or Poshita, somebody shared all the past papers. Is it Pulindu or who shared the past paper link? Okay. Can you share it again? Pojita, can you share it here now? Chamara can copy. The Google Drive link. Now remember the official past papers are the Cambridge IELTS past papers. There are 15 books. Okay. So every book has 4 test papers with answers and audio. They are the only official past paper. Others in the world are practice paper. So Pojita is the one who shared the link here. Pojita, share it again, please. Chamara, other people copied the link and downloaded them. Okay. They come with the papers and answers. So please do them. Okay. Right. Thank you, Pojita. All right. So that's that. Now about your writing. General students, you did a letter for homework last week, right? Informal letter. I'd like to show you model answer. All right. Thank you, Pojita. Can you please take a screenshot of that model answer? Okay. Writing to a friend, no, that's the letter. Okay. So informal letter 9 answer. Take a screenshot. You're writing to a friend. This is general model answer for homework. Take a screenshot, please. The letter you had to write for homework. Right. This is considered like a 9 answer. Okay, then wait, we had to take these model answers before we watch the video. Then academy people, where are the academy students? You had some homework. In the class we did what did we do? The 5th lesson we did a table, no, British consumer durables. I'd like to show you an answer for that first. Right? The British consumer durables one. Okay. So an answer for that. Answer prepared by an examiner. Right? This is the answer for the 5th lesson classwork table. Can you take a screenshot, please? The British consumer durables one. Then you had another one, I remember very well, I said, what if you get 2 pictures like a chart and a table and a chart, a graph and a chart. So you had another one like that for homework, and answer for that. The people who were arrested, remember the 2 pie charts and the bar one? Well, I have an answer for that also. Let me show you an answer for that. That was also one of your things you had to do for homework. Yes, I have one answer. Another homework for academy people. Can you see the screen? Right? This was also homework. It was in your last page, the question sheet last page. Right? Okay, so 90% academic students, graph, chart, table, graph, chart, table. Okay, so 10% they have given a picture description. Like, you know, now do you remember the method for graph, chart, table? Do you remember the method? What was the method? Right? Write the introduction, find the overview, one or two body paragraph. But very rarely they have given picture description. The picture can be a map, a flow chart, a diagram. Now I have to talk about that also, but that the chances of you getting that is like 10%, but I do not know what you will get, right? So I think in your question sheet, there were two questions like that. Here one about chocolate production. Okay, this one. There was a small mistake in this. In this box, write South America, Africa, Indonesia. This box, page 5. South America, Africa, Indonesia. Then box 8, can you write 350 degrees centigrades? Here, 350 degrees centigrade. Okay, now in a picture like this, take down the structure. They don't want overviews. In a picture description, students, what they want is, right, picture description. What they want is, first paragraph is always there, introduction, no overviews. They can be one or two sentences, and then you summarize the whole picture in a body. So body has one or two paras, that's all. Right? So we don't write overviews or conclusion. If you don't have 150 words, you can write a conclusion, but just say something general rather than going deep. Right? So it has an introduction and one or two body paragraphs. So this is about chocolate production. And look at this one now. This is actually about a flow chart about your IELTS exam. Right? So you have to summarize it in one or two paragraphs. I'd like to show you an answer for these two. Then you get a good idea about it, right? Right. First, let me show on the chocolate one. Nah? Are you ready for the chocolate one? This is an answer for the chocolate one. You can write it and send it to me. Right, look at that. Okay, then look at this other one, the IELTS one, the flowchart. Okay, right, Sunil? Right? So I'll help you. Now classes are over, but I want you to do your writing. Take anything from the past papers and you can send it to me. If you want your writing corrected, email me just like I do. I will correct it till you go for the exam. All right. I hope it's happy news, right? So then you have someone to correct your work, right? Send it to my mail. I'll correct all your writing. Okay, and any advice on writing or whatever you can ask me there. Okay, right? Right. Now we will go, no problem, I'm happy to help you. Now we will go to a speaking test. So now everyone knows the speaking test because on the second day, I gave you all the strategies and I told you about the three parts. First part answering questions about you and what is around you. Second part doing a prepared speech, and in the third part expressing opinions. My pleasure. Right? So you know the test, but I have given you some strategies. In the second day, we wrote it down in a piece of paper. Do you remember? Number one, speak clearly, pronounce your words well. If you don't have an accent, don't imitate. Okay? Number two, audibility. I said, if you're soft spoken, now you in the COVID situation, you have to wear a mask as well. So you have to be loud. If you're soft spoken, examiner say, I beg your pardon once or twice and overall give you a low score. Number three, if you hesitate a lot, that's not good. You have to sound fluent. How did I tell you to sound fluent? By putting fillers. Well, let me see. I guess, okay, fluency. Speaking without too much hesitation. The British examiner talks about it when you watch the video. And then number four, intonation, the rising and the falling tone of your voice. A very flat tone would not get you a high score. English has natural intonation patterns. If you're happy, you have to show it. If you're sad, you have to show it. Okay. Number five, you cannot give short answers. Do you remember? We wrote them down. And IELTS has to have at least 3-4 details. Otherwise, the examiner will ask you why not, when they. No, examiner, the only short answer is what's your name. Everything is 3-4 details. Got it? All right. Extended responses. And number six, you must use connecting words and but. So, however, you see that connecting words are very important. Why? They show the flow. The people in front of you know where you're going. Okay? The flow of speech. Connecting word. And seventhly, the seventh one, your grammar. You must use difficult grammar structures to show accuracy and the range. So simple structures, you're not accurate. Last one, number 8 is the most important thing. You must use low frequency words. You have to show off. You can't repeat words. You see that there are words which we don't use all the time. So a lot of low frequency, not high frequency. So those are the 8 things. They are the mark scheme. I've given you these 8 things in a piece of paper. You wrote it down on the second day, and then I gave the mark scheme. All right. So let us watch the video. The British examiner will do all this, take tests. And finally, there'll be a test for a Chinese girl. Try to roughly guess her score. Don't think of anything. Think about my 8 things. Don't think of accent and skin color. No marks given for accent and skin color. Marks are given for the 8 things. Okay. Can you please watch it? The test is right at the end. Okay. And the examiner gives you hints. We have written all them down. Don't try to write anything here because we have written all them down. All right. Okay. All of them. Okay, let's watch the video now. Are you ready? Are you ready to watch the video? All right. Yeah, let me share the screen. Huh? So the examiner talks about what I told you, nothing else. Somebody text me when you hear and see it. Huh?
This video is part of the IELTS Express series, the two-level series from Thompson ELT. It accompanies the upper intermediate level. A second video accompanies the intermediate level. We're here today to talk about the speaking module of the IELTS exam and which skills and techniques students need to develop to be successful. We asked an experienced IELTS examiner and teacher, Ranald Barnicott of Barnet College in North London, first to examine 8 candidates at different levels from different nationalities, then to analyse their performances in each part of the speaking module, and finally to assemble a range of extracts to illustrate these skills and techniques. Tell me about the IELTS speaking module.
Well, it consists of 3 parts, which place rather different demands on the candidates, and it's always a one-to-one interview. However, there are general criteria which apply to all 3 parts. There's fluency and coherence to start with. This involves the ability to speak without too much hesitation or pausing to correct one's own mistakes. I mean, it's good to do that, but too much gets in the way of communication. And you should also speak at a proper speed so that you don't put a strain on the examiner by speaking too slowly or too fast.
Could you explain coherence a little more?
Basically, it means connecting your ideas in a structured way so that the listener can understand what you're trying to say. And this way, you can also avoid repeating yourself.
And what about grammar? I imagine that's pretty important.
Yes, very much. Candidate structures should be reasonably correct, and they should show that they can use a lot of different grammatical structures, some fairly complex, and not just the basic ones. We call these 2 factors accuracy and range. And, of course, the same things apply to vocabulary.
How about pronunciation? I imagine it's not very satisfactory having brilliant vocabulary if nobody can understand what you're saying.
Absolutely not. And not only do candidates have to get individual sounds right, like distinguishing T and TH, T and Th, for example, they also have to stress the right word in a sentence and use an appropriate intonation. Examiners want to see evidence that candidates can use appropriate intonation, for example, whether they're asking a question or making a statement, and also expressing their feelings.
So if the intonation is rather flat, it can express lack of interest.
In part 1, the candidate has to answer a number of questions about themselves, their hopes for their future, their education, or their jobs, any hobbies they may have, or sometimes customs and lifestyles in their countries.
And what should candidates focus on when answering these questions?
A major element is extended responses. That is, not just giving one-word answers or answering with just a simple phrase or sentence. Let's show Danilo from Italy as a good example of this. Hello, my name is Ranald Barnicott. Can you tell me your full name, please?
My name is Danilo Guerini.
And what shall I call you?
Oh, Danilo, Danny.
Okay, Danny. Where do you come from?
I come from Italy, from the south of Italy.
Thank you. All right, so what I'm going to do first is ask you some questions about yourself, and I'm going to start with your studies. What are you studying?
At the moment, I'm doing a foundation year at Barnet College because I would like to go to university hopefully next year. And I'm studying a course of IELTS, an IT course, and a general English course.
What do you hope to study at university?
I would like to study European studies, which involves politics, international relations, and politics and international relations. Yeah.
Yes, I see what you mean. He didn't give much information about himself or his part of Italy to start with, but he does go on to describe his studies and what he wants to do in some detail. And I'm quite impressed by his vocabulary.
Yes, involves, for example, is quite a formal word, but it's very useful in an academic context or talking about one's studies, as Danilo is. I have to say, however, that he becomes a bit less fluent at the end.
He hesitates a little too much, doesn't he?
Daniel is another good example. Notice also the way he becomes more involved in the conversation by smiling. Let's talk about music. Do you play a musical instrument?
No, never.
What is your favorite kind of music?
It could be folk or country. I love that. So in my country, it's very popular folk music.
Yes, but I'm reminded about what you said about intonation. It is a bit flat in Daniel's case, isn't it?
Candidates should have a rising and falling intonation. It makes them sound interested and engaged in the conversation. Very flat intonation can make the candidate seem bored and uninterested and can have a negative effect on the listener.
Is there anything else you can suggest?
Fillers. It is important that candidates use these to fill the gaps in conversation. They also buy them time to think. Phrases like anyway or you know, actually, etc. Here are some common ones. First of all, boya.
I wanted to because I like to be a producer in the future and to do some programs for people.
What do you find most interesting about your subject?
I think is produce programs, the process when I do it, and I think I can find some interesting things in it.
Boya uses I think. Now, watch these clips of Panil. What are you studying?
Well, right now I'm studying English. It's an English foundation course. It's a one-year course. Yeah.
Why did you decide to study that subject?
Well, I want to become an actress and I want to study here in London. So I want to perfect my English and I thought this would be a good course. And also I get practicing taking the IELTS, which will show what level my English is at.
What kinds of music are most popular where you live in Norway?
Probably American and English pop music. Yeah.
Well, in the first one, she uses well a lot, and in the second, she uses yeah.
The yeah is interesting. She's using it to show that she's finished speaking. In this part, the examiner asks the candidate to talk for 1 or 2 minutes about a topic, usually about their personal experience, something they've seen or done, somewhere they've lived, a person they know, or a thing they own or would like to own, this type of thing.
Do candidates choose their own topic?
No. The examiner gives the candidate a card about a specific topic with 4 points that he or she must cover. The candidate then has 1 minute to prepare what they want to say. In fact, many students use this time to make notes. It helps them organize their ideas. Okay, let's move on to the next part. I'm going to give you a topic to talk about for 1 to 2 minutes. Before you start, you will have 1 minute to write some notes if you wish. And first of all, I'm going to give you some paper and a pencil for your notes. And here is your topic. I'd like you to describe how you would like to spend a free day. And this is Daniel's card. So the candidate has to explain how they would like to spend the day, what they might do, and who with. Also, they must give a reason or reasons. Of course, the candidate may need clarification about what he or she has to do, and Daniel asks for it.
Okay, and can I ask you, can I choose everybody who I want to spend the day with?
Yes.
All right then. Thank you.
As does Panil. I'd like you to describe how you would like to spend a free day.
Okay. Is it like here in England at this time kind of?
Anytime you like.
Okay.
So Daniel asks if he can start by describing the person he wants to spend the day with, and Panil wants to know if she has to talk about a specific time or place.
That's right. If a candidate is not sure about the instructions, it's a good idea to ask. That way they can be more confident that they are doing the task correctly.
And what kind of notes should the candidates write?
Well, there are two main types of notes. Firstly, there's linear. You just make a list of points to cover. And then there are word webs, as they're sometimes known. Candidates can, of course, write whichever kind they want, but many people prefer the second kind because they say it's easier to think of ideas that way. You start at the center and move outwards. One thing which is helpful is to include a list of keywords, vocabulary which is important and which will impress the examiner.
Any advice for when candidates start speaking?
Yes, sound confident and look at the examiner. It helps sometimes to give a brief summary of what you are going to do.
Right, I'm going to tell you about spending a day with my parents.
It also helps, when you are writing your notes, to visualize the scene. What do you think of Panil's description?
Okay. Well, I would like to go to get up early and go to a park, like Hyde Park or something, and have a picnic with my friends. And we would stay there all day, and everyone would bring something to the picnic. And then we would just sit there and talk and have fun and have some friends who play the guitar, so they would play the guitar. And we would just talk and stay there until late and have a barbecue as well.
Yes, we can certainly imagine the sort of day she's describing. It's well visualized.
And what about her vocabulary?
A bit simple?
Yes. It's good that she knows specific words like barbecue and picnic, but otherwise the words she uses are very high-frequency items, and the repetition is noticeable. Talk and stay there are each used twice. What about Danilo?
We usually have lunch out when I have free time, when I have a free day, and after having lunch, we carry on shopping around and having a stroll.
He uses stroll and shop around.
Yes, so all in all, he's got a good range of vocabulary, from the formal word involves, which we noticed earlier, to these rather informal expressions. Let's hear their comments afterwards about this part of the exam.
Okay, so what I found helped me was that I visualized the scene when I was talking about my free day. And I could actually see myself sitting in the park having a picnic, and then I could kind of grasp the details of what I wanted there. So that really helped me. And what I didn't do was write down keywords and vocabulary And I found that I repeated myself quite a lot because I didn't do that. And also I kept my language quite simple. I didn't say any big words. And I thought I should have.
And also writing keywords helped me remember what I had to say, like having a stroll. Writing it down, it helped me to remember it. So I think it's really helpful.
I'd quite like to hear a whole part 2.
All right. Here's Danilo.
All right. When I have a free day, I like to go to central London. I usually go with my girlfriend. We usually go to Camden Town, where there's a big market. Actually, there are 2 or 3 markets. I like shopping around and looking at the different things that they show there. I also like going to Oxford Street and Leicester Square. They are really different from Camden Town, and that's why I like of London, that it's really different. You can find different, like 2 or 3 cities together. We usually have lunch out when I have free time, when I have a free day, and after having lunch, we carry on shopping around and having a stroll. I like to go to the center because I just want to have a relaxing time and not thinking about working or studying or doing anything else. Just doing what I want to do, really.
Okay. So do other people that you know like to spend the day in the same way?
Yeah, I got some friends who I work with, but we usually go out during the night, the evening. We go to some pubs in the centre of London, and sometimes we go shopping or just looking around.
Well, that seemed to be pretty well organised. What did you think of his grammar?
A good range and quite accurate.
Yes, he uses after having lunch, some friends who I work with, so he uses quite complex forms. What about his pronunciation?
Very clear, but again, rather monotonous intonation. Perhaps he needs to sound more lively.
Yes, as we mentioned before, speaking with a rising and falling intonation pattern will make you seem interested and engaged in the conversation. Part 3 is a question and answer session, but more of a discussion based on the topic of Part 2. Candidates have to be able to cope with questions about the environment, educational system, and, in general, issues facing either their country or the world.
So it's more abstract.
Yes, and it helps to know what is going on in the world.
What if a candidate doesn't understand a question?
Well, just like in Part 2, he or she should request clarification. Let's see how Boya does this.
Now people want to have more higher educations because they want to get a good job, so they don't have much more time for leisure.
Okay. What effects on society do you think any changes in the ages at which people retire might have?
Sorry.
Well, there's talk about changing the law about retirement age,
Yeah.
making it possible for people to retire later.
Okay.
What effects will this have on society?
Oh, so you mean is the retired age for people in this society?
Yeah.
What I know in China is people probably at age 50, they probably will retired.
And what will candidates be asked to do?
To express an opinion, appropriately introduced by I think, or in my opinion, etc., and backed up by evidence. Let's see what Danilo uses. Do you think that people generally have enough leisure time?
No, I personally think that nowadays people don't have a lot of free time, and
He says, I prefer to think. Now, Boya, talking about the opposite of leisure, that is work, do you think that employers should encourage employees to work overtime or discourage them from doing so?
I suppose not to do that, because it's better to encourage them, to make them, let them know what they want to do, and they can do it by themselves to work harder and to make the work better. Yeah.
She uses, I suppose. But we are looking for a wide range of expressions, such as I really believe or what I think is. Another thing a candidate may have to do is evaluate, to make a comment or decision on how valuable something is, how important or useful. So do you think that the change has been for the better or for the worse?
I think for worse, because of relationships and anyway, a few people had contact with nature, and they just spend the time with new technology, like I said, the computers and television.
So Daniel doesn't think much of the way we enjoy ourselves these days. Evaluation, I suppose, is another way of expressing an opinion. Is there any other way that they will have to use language?
They might have to compare and contrast. Danilo's response is rather good on this. How do you think the ways in which people spend their leisure time have changed since 100 years ago?
I think it's changed a lot. Maybe 100 years ago, people didn't used to have weekends off or any days off, so they didn't have much free time to spend in doing some leisure activities. Whereas now, life is much easier. I mean, people have 2 days or at least 1 day off, so they can spend a lot of time doing relaxing activities, such as going to cinema, having a walk from time to time, or go shopping around when they have a chance.
He uses whereas to express contrast. Daniel does answer this question, but his response is very disjointed and it's not easy to see the grammatical structure.
What's the difference? It depends because of technology was developing, and so maybe 100 years ago, without television and without DVD, without CD, without computers, they spend a lot of time with their family, and now.
Another thing a candidate may be called on to do is to hypothesize.
Hypothesize?
Yes, to imagine a situation which doesn't exist in reality, to imagine what would happen if things were different from what they are. Let's watch an example. Penelope, how do you think people would react if there was no TV?
But I think they would be quite shocked because, well, I never had a life without TV, so I would be quite surprised and it would be shocking news. What would be a problem would be that we're used to getting news and stuff really quickly, and we wouldn't be able to do that. I mean, you wouldn't get to know that the TV was out before the newspaper came out the day after, and that would be a bit late because today the society is moving quite quickly, so that would not be good. Also, well, if it happened like for a long period of time, you would probably go back in time and start playing games again with your families and go out and see the blue sky and take some fresh air. And we would probably go back to what we used to do, going to a theatre and playing football with friends, even though we're grown up and don't usually do that anymore. But I think people would panic a bit, and also a lot of people would lose their work. So so many people would be out on the dole. That's not good.
Yes, she used would consistently, didn't she?
In a second conditional construction. Now listen to Daniel. What do you think would happen if the government banned overtime?
Oh, it's terrible. If they had banned overtime, I think that people would do black business. We call that black business. So I think that employers would use the employee for overtime. So I think that it's useless to ban that.
Now, let's listen to Boya. What would happen if the government said that people can work as long as they wish?
No, I don't think it's a good thing because people have rights and they don't want to work all their lifetime. They have time to relax, to leisure, to spend with their children or with their parents. So I think it have retired age for people to retire. Yeah.
She doesn't really answer the question, does she? She thinks I mean people should be forced to work all their lives, whereas I suggested that they should be allowed to. Then there's something else they might have to do, speculate about the future. What form does Danilo use to do this?
I think it might be popular in the future, going to a gym or anyway taking doing sports, such as going to, as I said, to a gym or swimming or running.
Okay, so do you think that more and more people will take this up?
Yeah, I think it's already happening now. Many people go to a gym before going to work, maybe in the first morning, about 7 o'clock, or after they worked.
He uses might.
Yes, though that's also the form I use in my question. He might also have used terms like maybe, perhaps, in all probability, what seems likely is, etc.
And any other language they should concentrate on?
Yes, they need to use signpost words, words which indicate what is ahead or coming, what kind of thing the speaker wishes to say, perhaps reason or result, or an example, or to point out some kind of contrast. Let's listen to Pernil. So do you think the quality of life these days is worse than it used to be?
Well, the quality of life is definitely better in theory because now we live longer and we're not as sick as they used to be. If you get a disease now, you can be cured.
She uses because. However, this is a very common word, so we're looking for terms like since, as, seeing that, or the reason is. For result, of course, there's so, or so that, or verbs like cause, or lead to. And in this clip, Pernil uses some quite advanced vocabulary. Of course, entertainment is a very big industry these days. What kind of impact does that have on our lives?
Well, I think all people are, in some way or another, are affected by the entertainment industry.
She uses affected by.
Yes, and she could have also used words like impact or influence. Now, in this clip, Daniel introduces an example. Let's take the opposite of leisure, that is, work. Do you think employers should encourage employees to work overtime or discourage them from doing it?
I think that they could be encourage them, but it depends of the work as well. Because, for example, if I'll do my work or during my normal hours, and I'm not able to do everything, and I will do hard work. So then I have to take overtime as well. So I will expect from my boss that he will encourage me, or maybe he will help me.
Yes, he uses for example, but we can also use such as or for instance.
Or an example is, let's take as an example, etc.
You also mentioned contrast. Danilo used whereas earlier to express this.
Yes. What does he use here? Do you think that people generally have enough leisure time?
No, I personally think that nowadays people don't have a lot of free time, and many people are workaholic and they prefer to spend their time working. But in the other hand, there are other people who would like to have more leisure time, but they can't because they have a lot of fees to pay. So they spend more time working rather than having free time.
On the other hand, except he said in the other hand.
Exactly. Something else, although we haven't got any examples, is to outline your response. For example, there are two things I can say about this.
It might be helpful to watch a whole interview now.
Well, here's Boya. As you watch, think about those general criteria: fluency and coherence, vocabulary, grammatical accuracy and range, and pronunciation. To take the last point, how does she pronounce the word busy, B-U-S-Y, in part 2? Does she make an effective use of stress and intonation? But, above all, is she clear enough? In part 1, are her responses extended enough or too brief? Does she use fillers to give herself time to think?
Yes, and in part 2, does she continue as confidently as she started?
Also, maintaining eye contact is very important. Not staring at the examiner, but glancing towards him on keywords which she wishes to stress.
And in part 3, I'll look out for how she expresses her opinion or compares and contrasts, speculates or hypothesizes.
And don't forget the use of signposting. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Ronald Barnicott. Can you give me your full name, please?
My full name is Boya Liu.
I see. And what can I call you?
You can call me Boya.
And where do you come from?
I come from China.
Well, I'm going to start by asking you some questions about yourself.
Okay.
First of all, about your studies. What are you studying?
Now I'm studying Diploma in Foundation Studies in Metropolitan University.
And what do you intend to study at Metropolitan University in future?
Probably media.
Why did you choose that subject?
Because I want to choose because I like to be a producer in the future and to do some programs for people.
Okay. What do you find most interesting about your subject?
I think is produce programs, the process when I do it, and I think I can find some interesting things in it.
Do you enjoy being a student?
Yeah.
Is there anything that you don't like in your studies?
Oh, homework.
Let's move on to talk about newspapers and magazines.
Okay.
Which newspapers and magazines do you read?
I mean, in English or Chinese?
In English.
Okay. In English, when I stay in London, probably read Metro because it's free and I can take it from the tube.
Okay. Which part of a newspaper do you turn to first?
Probably entertainment.
Why?
Because I don't like to be something very political things. I want to see something very relaxed. Yeah.
Is there any part of a newspaper that you don't read?
Things about politics.
I see. Okay, let's move on to music. Do you play a musical instrument?
Yeah.
What do you play?
Piano. Yes.
Okay. What is your favorite kind of music?
All kinds, if I like it. I think it's all beautiful music, but especially as classic. Yeah.
What kinds of music are most popular where you come from?
Now in China is pop music. Yes, and lots of pop stars sing pop songs.
Okay. Do you think it's better to listen to live music or recordings?
I think for me, I think it's better to listen to record music because it's better. But I think if you want to be a good singer, it's better to have a live music, and it can show your skills of the music and your voice.
Okay, let's move on. So the next part, I'm going to ask you to talk about a topic.
Okay.
For 1 or 2 minutes. Firstly, you will have 1 minute to prepare the topic and write some notes if you wish. Here is some paper and a pencil for your notes.
Okay.
And this is your topic. Describe how you would like to spend a free day. All right?
Yeah.
Remember, you have only 1 to 2 minutes, so don't worry if I stop you.
Okay.
Would you like to start now, please?
Right. I'm going to tell you about spending a day with my parents. When I have a free day, I love to be at home with my mom and dad, because I think sometimes when I stay at home, it's very little time with them because I have to go to school. And these 3 days, when I'm with my mom and dad, I can talk with them, chat with them, and show what was the life in my schools, and let them know what happened and what I'm now and what's difference between now and the past. And I think it's a good way to improve the relationships with parents like this. And after that, I like to listen to music and to relax myself because, the studies in school are very busy and also very boring. So I want to do some things really can relax me and just forget things in the school. And why I like to spend the day like this is, first of all, it can relax myself, and secondly, it can improve relationship with my parents. And thirdly, it's I think it's good for health going out instead of stay at home. So that's all. Yeah.
Okay. And do you think you'll be able to do this soon? To spend the day with your parents, as you said?
Now I don't think so because I'm in London. They are in China. Yeah.
Okay. So we've been talking about you've been describing how you would like to spend a free day.
Yeah.
I'd like to ask you some more general questions on the same theme. These days, do you think that people generally have enough leisure time?
I don't think so because these days are more competitive than before. So people are more likely to spend time in work, earn much more money to make their life better. Yeah. So I don't think you have enough time for them to leisure.
Okay. What kinds of leisure activities do you think might be popular in the future?
In the future, I think probably stay at home. Yes, because they stay at home and do something they want. Don't do things somebody let you to do. It's just relax. Yeah.
Do you think that we need technology in order to use our leisure time effectively?
Technology? I don't think so, because if you use the technology to leisure, probably it will use your brain or use your body to do some sports. I think leisure is just relax, just stay at home and lie in the sofa and watch some TV or something like that.
Okay. How do you think people used to entertain themselves, say, 100 years ago?
Hundreds of years ago. Oh, it's so long time.
When they didn't have television or CD players?
Probably chat around with people they live with and stay at home and do something they like. And if they're not like to chat with people, just stay at home. Yeah.
Okay. Do you think that education influences the ways people spend their leisure time?
Education. For me, I think it is because now people want to have more higher educations because they want to get a good job, so they don't have much more time for leisure.
Okay. What effects on society do you think any changes in the ages at which people retire might have?
Sorry.
Well, there's talk about changing the law about retirement age, making it possible for people to retire later.
Okay.
What effects will this have on society?
Oh, so you mean is the retired age for people in this society?
Yeah.
What I know in China is people probably at age 50, they probably will retired. But I don't think it's a good age because, now the life are better and better. So the life expectancy is longer. So I think it can be 60 is better till retired.
What would happen if the government said that people can work as long as they wish?
No, I don't think it's a good thing because people have rights and they don't want to work all all their lifetime. They have time to relax, to leisure, to spend with their children or with their parents. So I think it have retired age for people to retire. Yeah.
Okay. Going back to entertainment, are there any forms of entertainment that you disapprove of?
Oh, I disapprove of is I don't like it.
You don't like it?
I don't like play video game.
No, why not?
Because I think it's waste time and bad for eyes. But I like watching TV.
Thank you very much. Let's go
Thank
into
you.
speaking test.
Yeah.
Okay, students. All right, so you got a good idea. Can anybody guess finally you saw the test for the Chinese girl. Can you guess what the score was? Just give me a rough count. Think about the 8 things I told you. Just tell me what do you think she got? The Chinese girl. Yes? Chinese girl. What do you think she got? Okay. Try to guess the score. Think about the 8 things. Well, actually, she got a 6. Her grammar was terrible. Do you see that? She said educations. People have time for educations, leisures, right? So she got low marks for grammar, right? Manumi, how can she get 7? Because her grammar was terrible. And in the third part, she didn't even understand a single question, even though the examiner clarified. And she hesitated, didn't put fillers in some situations. She had a pronunciation problem for busy, she said busy. And then she repeated some words. You see that? So that's why she got a 6. Okay, Manumi, Vasfi, right? So overall, lots of repetitions and grammar has affected a lot, right? She had terrible grammar. Are you okay? Are you okay? Right. So now I will tell you how I will do your test. Everyone in this class must do a test. So if you, I'll write my email again. If when you want your test, all right, send me a mail. Then I will share the WhatsApp number and I'll do a WhatsApp test. Okay, you have to send the mail. If you send the mail, I'll reply with my WhatsApp number and then we'll do a mock test on WhatsApp. All right, then I'll give you a score and then I'll tell you what's wrong. Okay? All right, students, are you happy or what? You do the test. Whenever you want the mock test, you can contact me through mail. Then I'll share my WhatsApp number and we'll do WhatsApp test. All right. Usually in a physical class, what I do is people have to put appointments and meet me at ICBT. So now I will not, make it an obstacle. We'll have it on WhatsApp. Okay. Right. So lots of hard work. As I said, I'll do speaking on WhatsApp and I will do correct your writing if you send me to the mail. So past papers, official past papers, I just told you, please download them. Do the official ones, the Cambridge ones. All right, they are the others are all practice papers. There are only official past papers are the Cambridge past papers. Okay, students. Right. So some people are going for the exam. We know in that I think academy and general both. Okay. Right.
Okay, ma'am.
Just check, download the proper one. Okay. All right. Then thank you very much, students. I wish you all the best. Right. Call me for speaking. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Look at my funny.